So, week four's meditation technique is going to be cosmic perspective. This is one that we can do seated, in sort of a silent meditation, guiding ourselves and reminding ourselves just where we are in the cosmos. And also, it's a very powerful practice to just remind yourself when things start to feel really heavy, you start to fall into bits of drama, maybe in your personal life or in the global events or whatever's going on. It's really refreshing to kind of slow down and remember where you are in the big picture, the cosmic, the macro level of reality, which is the cosmos. So, looking out in the stars and just seeing, remembering that we are a species on it's a big planet, and yet it's this beautiful little ball of water and plants and animals floating in a incomprehensibly large space with uncountable numbers of stars, which are suns, and galaxies and other planets. And a lot of times I think that can kind of scare people, just contemplating the infiniteness of space. Yet I find it to also be really relieving, because it's like all this human drama we have going on. Is it all really that important? Is anything really so important as to just be in some form of pain or sadness? Just to drop it, to remembering how little we are in the big scheme of things. I find it to be very humbling and very powerful. So, as for the meditation, I'll do a quick guided cosmic meditation. So, closing your eyes, becoming comfortable wherever you are. First, just tuning into the breath, noticing the inhale and the exhale. And wherever you're sitting or laying, picture yourself with your eyes closed. Picture yourself in the room that you're sitting in, as if you're kind of floating from the outside. Just sit with this feeling of where you are in the room, in the house. And then imagine the land that your house or wherever space you're in is built on. The earth underneath, right, underneath the concrete and everything. There's this earth. And then you kind of zoom back a little and you see the house surrounded by other houses, or maybe you're in an apartment. You keep zooming back, and now you see your neighborhood. Still a very local environment. Just maybe half a mile in all directions. Maybe noticing some landmarks that you always drive by to and from on your routine work, And then slowly step back a little farther, visualizing where you are right now in the middle of the city that you're living in or that you're visiting right now. So now imagining and kind of seeing the picture of the whole city from a bird's view. And then we're going to zoom up much higher this time to the height of planes. Remembering the last time you were on a plane and looking out the window. Now imagining you're in a plane directly above your house, 60,000 feet off the ground. From this height you can see a lot more. You might see mountains in the distance, or large bodies of water. clouds, maybe some birds. And then we're going to zoom back more. And we're going to go to the edge of the ozone. This is where the oxygen starts to disappear. From here, we can just start to see the curvature of the Earth. Beautiful blue color of the sky. As we're looking down at the Earth. And we can also start to see more stars in the night sky. Well, maybe not night. But just float at this space, this level of height of the Earth for a moment or two in your visualization. Breathing. And now we're going to zoom back to about where the International Space Station is. Far enough to where you can see the Earth in front of you, but it's huge. It takes up 70-80% of your visual field when you're looking at it. You're just far enough away to see the space behind it, and yet it's so huge. And as you're looking at the Earth, just appreciate it. See, notice how there are no boundaries. There are no little lines that separate the countries or the continents. It's just a beautiful planet with water and land and clouds. And now we're going to zoom back even farther to the moon. Now we're sitting on the moon in a nice comfy chair, staring at the Earth, which has become much smaller. Now we can see the whole Earth in front of us in one nice little circle. Kind of how we imagine seeing the moon from Earth, we now see the Earth from the moon. And as you're sitting here, notice how the Earth is really floating in the midst of space. That from this perspective you can see space is just as far below the Earth as it is above the Earth. And yet when we're on it, we always look up when we think about space. And yet it is also always just as far below the Earth's surface as it is above. Also notice from this perspective, you start to lose track of what's up and what's down, what's left and right, east and west, as well as there's no concept of day or night from up here. The sun is just burning in the same spot, and you start to notice all the planets are spinning slowly around this giant ball of fire that we call the sun, nuclear ball of fire. And as we zoom back farther away from the moon and start to see the other planets, noticing how the ones closest to the sun are torched. Incredibly hot, way too hot to support life. Very dangerous for a human life form. And then as we zoom away from Earth's orbit to the outside, more to the outside of the orbit, to the planets that are farther away from the sun, it starts to get much, much cooler, much colder. And then Mars and Saturn and Jupiter, the farther we get, the more beautiful and colorful the other planets are that we pass by. And it also gets much colder. Even to the point where, again, the idea of having a nice 70-degree Fahrenheit day just does not exist on these planets. It's too far away from the source of heat. And we quickly realize that the Earth is in this prime field of distance between not being too hot and not being too cold. In astronomy, it's called the Goldilocks zone, and it's a tiny sliver of a percentage compared to the vastness of space. The tiny gap that is sustainable, and it's not too hot and it's not too cold to sustain life for plants and animals to exist. And sit with that for a moment. The beauty of the probability in that is astronomical. And yet here we are, breathing. And then we're going to zoom back even farther, all the way to Pluto, the questionable planet. No one knows anymore what it is. But it's very, very cold. The sun is now very small. And as you're looking at Pluto, you notice just how quiet and how spaced out everything is. And you look towards the sun and the other planets in the Earth, and then you look in the opposite direction to the giant void where uncountable numbers of little beams of light are reflecting towards you. And you very quickly start to go towards the direction of this emptiness, the void that's in the opposite direction of the sun. As you're moving very fast away from our solar system, you look back and see it getting smaller and smaller and smaller, until it too is just a dot, just another star in the night sky, if there is even night anymore. So now you're looking around and you pause, and there's no sense of relativity. You don't know big from small, up from down, left from right, because it's just emptiness and stars. The temperature of which is, again, extremely uninhabitable. Luckily, we have our meditation spacesuits on. And from this space, you can choose any star you see out of the trillions and instantly go there. And you go from one star to the next, to the next, to the next, passing through trillions and trillions of miles of emptiness. Uncountable miles. Distance even no longer really exists at this level of space between objects. And yet you travel, and you travel, and you travel, and you keep going in one direction. You don't know what direction, but you just keep going in that direction. And going and going and going and going. And it never seems to end. And you do this for 1,000 years. And you never get to an edge. And then you pause. And you turn around. And you look at where you came from. Even the slightest glimmer of what star would be the one that has our Earth is completely lost. No idea. Keeping in mind that every star that you traveled to on your 1,000-year journey didn't have a single planet that was as habitable and temperature appropriate and beautiful as the Earth. And you're sitting there starting to get a little worried. How am I going to get back? I miss home. I miss the trees, the wind, the birds, my family, my friends. I miss music and delicious food. I even miss the people that used to piss me off. And you wonder, how am I going to get back? I have to get back. And then you hear a little voice inside your head that says, open your eyes. Oh yeah. And here we are. So if you start to find yourself falling into the dramas of your personal life, of your past, of your future, just remember how lucky we are to be on this planet, to have oxygen to breathe, warm sunlight on our skin. The idea of complaining about a rainy day no longer exists. It is all immensely beautiful. And with gratitude, we appreciate it. We smile at it, say thank you. Soak it all up. And this is the cosmic perspective. So for this week, while using your mindfulness bell reminder, and you hear the ding going off randomly throughout your day, pause for a second, stop whatever you're doing, and remember how lucky we are to be on this planet. just slowing down and appreciating all the little gifts, even gravity, holding us down on this earth. Cosmic perspective. Much love.